there's a lot of moving parts in the grocery business. I really can appreciate those guys and their jobs they do, because I'm telling you that it's not an easy task when you have to be in control of having donuts ready in the morning and fresh bread that's baked, all fresh produce on the counters, the floor is sparkling, all the buggies clean, the warehouse spotless. I mean, there's a lot to do.
So what's, like I was asking her, what's one of your wildest grocery store stories? I know you got some. I know you had some crazy days.
I think the craziest thing I ever did was a guy walked out with 2 cases of beer one day out the door, and I chased him out and jumped in the back of his truck when he was driving off, and stuck with him the whole time until the police came. So that was stupid.
Yeah.
How old were you when you did this? How old were you when you did this?
It was in Ocean Springs, and actually I was late 20s probably.
Welcome to Kathy and Susie's Kids. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Matthew Brooks.
And I'm Rickey Authement.
What up, bud?
Hey.
About time. We've been trying to get you on here for how long now? For a year since we started, really?
No.
Yeah,
No.
Couple weeks.
No, I reached out when I first started the podcast. I said, you need to come on. When me and Matt first started, I reached out a long time ago.
But you're here now, so the wait is over.
Yeah, I guess when you first start talking about podcasting, you never done one, it's like, I'm not sure. And then after, these are just really cool.
Is this your first one?
No, second.
Okay.
It's like your homegrown. I think Matt McDonald put it the perfect way for us. He says like a homegrown, platform. It's just like your own news, homegrown, like studio base,
Right.
where we have a conversation with the guests, and we do a lot of stuff ourselves. But it's conversation, because a lot of how often do people sit across the table and have a conversation? And we always say it's like at the kitchen table. And that's kind of where, for us, I feel the podcast, you get the best out of it, because, you get this, you get to talk to us about things, especially like your career. Who are you?
Right.
Are these questions?
Yeah, I want to know.
So who is Rickey?
Yeah, who is Rickey? Where are you from, Rickey?
I'm from Cut Off, Louisiana. And, and I feel like I was like, God's calling was for me to be a public servant, because straight out of school, I worked in retail for, 19 years. And
I guess Gafers.
Good one.
No, where did you work retail?
So I worked at Del Champs in Jitney Jungle.
Hell yeah.
And I was there for 19 years. And
I didn't know that about you.
I worked in 4 different states and 18 different stores. And as a store manager, having, being responsible for a store and the amount of any employees up to 150
and customer service.
And customer service, and then going into my home inspection business, which is 100%, customer service, and then now being a public servant in the community is, I just feel like I fit right in.
Yeah. No. All right. So let's go back to Del Champs Jitney Jungle. I got some questions here.
Go ahead.
All right. So you started out. How old were you?
16.
So bagging groceries. You
Groceries.
didn't start out as the manager.
No, bagging groceries and mopping floors.
So you start out from 16. Did you look at the other employees and be like, man, I want to do what they're doing, and just that's how you slowly worked your way up? Or was it, did your family work there? How'd you get in there?
No, my family didn't work there. I actually worked there started in the summertime, bagging groceries. And I never really looked at, I never really saw anybody that I actually idled, I guess, in the grocery business. I did what I was supposed to do, and it just kept getting better and better, and then I became a store manager, and it just
gradually threw a little bit more responsibility on you at a time, and pay equaled out, and clearly you did it for a while
and had a good work ethic. Is what I'm getting out of this.
I did. Being in the grocery business, I think tailors or trains a person to a whole different perspective, because after that store's been shopped all day, it's got to look like it's never been walked in by the next morning. And that's an everyday turnaround. And to do that, you got to do it through your personnel. And I feel like when you can when you can manage people in all rims of departments, from produce to meat department, from grocery to bakery to bread, to pull all those pieces together, that every morning when you open the doors, that people walk into a store that looks like grand opening morning, that's a big achievement.
Absolutely. All right, what's one of your wildest?
I never really thought about it that way.
What's one of your wildest grocery stores? Yeah, I'm thinking about.
I mean,
that.
I know, but I'm saying like that. No, but like the whole got to be spotless, because when you do walk in, I was a fan of Jitney Jungles. I mean, we all were. Wasn't the one we did, D'Iberville, was right there where the Walmart neighborhood Walmart is. That was our Jitney Jungle,
right in the triangle.
Mm-hmm. But I never looked at it like, they had to get it like a grand opening.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of moving parts in the grocery business. I really can appreciate those guys and their jobs they do, because I'm telling you that it's not an easy task when you have to be in control of having donuts ready in the morning and fresh bread that's baked, all fresh produce on the counters, the floor is sparkling, all the buggies clean, the warehouse spotless. I mean, there's a lot to do.
So what's, like I was asking her, what's one of your wildest grocery store stories? I know you got some. I know you had some crazy days.
I think the craziest thing I ever did was a guy walked out with 2 cases of beer one day out the door, and I chased him out and jumped in the back of his truck when he was driving off, and stuck with him the whole time until the police came. So that was stupid.
Yeah.
How old were you when you did this? How old were you when you did this?
It was in Ocean Springs, and actually I was late 20s probably.
Still athletic enough to jump in the back of a truck.
How long have you been living in Ocean Springs for?
Since 1990.
1990. I was
really?
4.
Yep.
I was 4 in 90.
I worked in a lot of different stores, and I helped in a lot of different stores. And when I had the opportunity to come to Ocean Springs, I was like, well, I had never heard of it. I drove over here one day with a friend of mine from Houma, Louisiana, and we just stayed on Highway 90 all the way to Pascagoula and came back, and I was like, man, I just couldn't believe how cool Ocean Springs was in 1990. I mean, it's like, and I've been here since.
It's a beautiful place, and you kind of helped make it a beautiful place.
You do.
Yeah. So let's talk about your current position. You've been in office since when?
Since 2017.
2017, and your current position is
Alderman for Ward 2.
Ward 2.
And that's pretty much downtown, Front Beach.
I have the downtown, the harbor, Front Beach, and then some of East Beach.
So that's a tough job. I mean, I would say downtown is like the most lively point of the whole city. So I mean,
let's
pressure.
Let's go with how we met though. This is a crazy story. With the Highway 57 DMV.
Okay.
Me and him sitting. I didn't even know who this guy was. We just sit next to each other. We both lost our driver's license in our cars, I believe.
We did. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how in the hell I did that. I had it sitting on my console of my truck, and then it slid behind the console, and you can't take apart those trucks anymore. I mean, I don't know where it was.
You guys are talking to someone who currently doesn't know where his driver's license is.
We sat there for a good hour and became friends. Like, we sat there for good hours. We're joking. We traded
like
business
one
cards.
Positive thing that come out of the DMV that I could. You don't see many positive things coming out of the DMV.
Yeah.
So
this
look,
is before though.
So the line was so long, everybody else is all getting pissed off, and Jordan and I were making a friendship.
That's a beautiful thing.
And, but this is before he probably a few months before he decided he wanted to run. So he wasn't a politician at the time we met. And he was a great guy, and I just love his energy. Hibbs is his home inspection company in Ocean Springs. So he dresses in this, I mean, Ricky's got a style. This is a good style, but normally you see Ricky in his polos, cargos, and his work boots. But I hit it off with him, man. He was a super cool guy, and we were just like, I lost my driver's license in my car. He goes, I did too. And I'm like, that's just weird. And of course, it takes like 2 hours to get your driver's license.
Yeah, it took a long time that day to get a driver's license.
But that's a good thing because you guys would have met. If not.
Yep.
So I met you through Jordan, obviously, and then we became Neptune brothers. And I mean, we're still writing in the history books now. But
line five.
You already know. But let's talk about your home inspection company. When did you start that business up?
I started that in 1999.
1999. So 9 years after living down here, the Ocean Springs life, you decide you want to start doing. Is this for new construction? Is this for current? Is this evaluations? Is
all
this
real
for
estate.
Insurance? Is this for
when Del Champs Del Champs went out of business. Jitney Jungle bought them, and then I stayed with Jitney Jungle until the end. Then when Jitney Jungle closed, I decided at that point I was just, I was going to take what I had learned all those years in retail management and just do something on my own. And when I first started doing inspections, I was like, well, I was really taking it as a big, it was kind of a relief because I was only responsible for myself at work. I was doing home inspections and I ended up growing, or the home inspection business got to where I couldn't take care of everybody that I had built relationships with. So I hired another guy. Then it got to where I couldn't handle all the relationships with that. So now there's 5 of us, and I have an assistant, and we try and take care of our
Molly,
realtors.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, she's dope.
That's awesome. Where's your office at?
In Ocean Springs.
Where at? Tell everybody.
In
where they can find you.
Armand Place, right next to Castaways.
Or Planet Fitness, right on
Planet
your,
Fitness.
You'll always
Gotcha.
you'll always see Ricky's F-250 out there.
Gotcha. Well, I'm just making sure the public knows.
Oh no, I was saying I'll see your truck all the time out there. I mean, right at your spot. I was telling him,
I've been driving my van a lot though lately.
See, that's another thing. He has a beautiful F-250, but he does drive his work van more.
All right, and on the work van, is it tricked out? Has it got like a skin on it?
Nope.
Why not?
What kind of van is it though? Tell me what kind of van is it?
It's just a Transit Connect.
It's like that little Ford van. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The small, tiny one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the builders
That's all you need.
the builders made fun of me for a little while. When I used to
Where do you
pull
put
up
your
with it.
ladder on that? You got one of those like
I got a ladder rack. I got an extended ladder. I got a ladder rack. But when I remember I used to always drive my F-250 to work, and then when we do inspections on existing houses, new construction or whatever, and I can remember pulling up, and I think Dell Desport was the first builder that saw me driving the van, and I'm not even going to comment what he called my van, but being so, he it was a little different, but I tell you, it's gratifying when you're at the gas pump and pay $30 a week for fuel than $200.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know, like, so Cheryl, like my house, I know you inspected my house, like, so I know you have a great relationship with a lot of companies. What made you say, hey, you know what, I want to be a part of I want to help the community. I want to take on some headaches. I want to make a better Ocean Springs.
Yeah, because you're running your own business now.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a big leap for you to leave the comfort of that. Like you said, you got to build up to pretty much 5 employees to jumping in as a public servant.
Well, I spent 10 years on zoning and adjustments and planning, and I spent probably the last 2 or 3 years as the chair of the Planning Commission. And I've grown, and as much as I love Ocean Springs, since the time I've lived there, I've just grown to like really, really just when you get down to the nuts and bolts of the subdivision regs and the ordinances and the way the city just operates, all the moving parts. I mean, it just made me want to go to a step further. And I did that as a volunteer for 10 years. I mean, I never missed any meetings.
Really?
I was there, had to make some hard decisions, had to get beat up even when I was a volunteer. And it's just one of those things that I think that we need good volunteers, and then good volunteers become where I am today.
For sure.
So 10 years you volunteered your work.
I did.
So, and here's the thing about with his work ethic too. Like, and this is what I always mess with him. When Ricky gets off of work, and this is a friend just talking about you, but when Ricky gets off of work at his job, he reads all his reports from the whole day before he goes to bed.
A lot.
So he sits there and reads all the reports for every home that he touches on top of being a city official.
So for somebody who doesn't do a lot of reading, that's a lot of reading.
Yeah. It is a lot of reading.
Well, how long does that take you usually?
It takes me to do one day about 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
So when do you sleep?
I sleep.
Do you?
You sleep?
You look like you get some sleep.
So you're running again.
Yeah, I am.
What is your focus on this next for you for running again? What kind of focus you got to better the city?
Well, I'm going to back up to first coming in office. When you first become a public servant as an alderman or councilman, there's so many moving parts to the city that you have to learn. I mean, when I first got in, I was like, okay, now I'm in. Now I got to figure out ad valorem taxes and property taxes and the budget and how everything just operates. And I think it really just takes almost a whole term just to really get in and learn. Like I spent every Mississippi Municipal League conference this last 4 years I've attended it, to where I'm a few hours away from being able to be a certified municipal officer. You probably didn't know there was such a thing.
No,
I didn't. I'm learning.
And I didn't know there was either. But myself and a few other ones or several others on the board attended everything, and we were able to get this accomplished pretty much in a one term. So, so you get to go to these conferences and you get to learn all the things and all the moving parts about bonds and loans and, everything that you need to know to be in a public office like that. So to answer your question, moving forward, I'm ready now. Yeah. Knowing the subdivision regs and knowing ordinances and stuff is just a small drop in the bucket when it comes to, budget and taxes and, I'm just ready.
Getting things done.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
It was just like how we told you, like, we don't have a script. We don't have guys who listening. We don't have notes. We want to just, hey, you're
Come on
running.
here and be real.
Right.
What's up? I mean, and that's cool you said that. So, but you did do a good, you put your heart in there. And this is things I've noticed as a personal friend. It's things like with Emily and Oliver, we go out, on the weekends. Rickey, I'll see Rickey out exploring during the weekends. He's out there, and not drinking, just checking on everybody, making sure everybody's safe, and he just
shaking hands
and walking around and just seeing what the city's doing. I think that's something that you can admire about a person.
Yeah, we did a lot these last 4 years. With what we were dealt these last 4 years, we went from first coming into office to our first month in office. We had Hurricane Nate, which wasn't a bad hurricane, but it caused enough devastation or debris, I guess I should say, to that kind of went overextended, as far as getting picked up, because at the time, when we first came into office, our budget was not being met, and we didn't have the money to just get it cleaned up, and so we did it in house. It took months and months, and people were upset because it was killing their grass, and tired of looking at it. The streets look bad, we got past that, and then we entered into the whole flag thing, and and I'm not really going to get into that part of it, but that lasted for well into a year. It seemed like every meeting we were going to, it was hard to do business because we were battling that particular topic. And then we got some things done. We built a nice, great dog park in Ocean Springs. We've created the ordinance for people to be able to commute in our neighborhoods that are under 30 miles an hour on golf carts.
That's awesome. That's huge.
Big. And that was your push.
It was.
Yeah, because I remember when he, like I said, he's got his golf cart too. But like that was a push. He had this that was a big push. But you see it; it's everywhere.
Yeah, that's moderning up your city with the times.
Yeah, we've been able to do some drainage projects,
parking,
some paving. We did work on some parking, and then we went into COVID. Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you about that. From a public official standpoint, having the downtown and and representing the bars and restaurants, and then when COVID hits, and then the executive orders come, and bars and restaurants have to be closed, and and trying to muddle your way through that part of it. Because I didn't know how long it was going to last. I didn't know what the next step was, and then coming out of that, then we got another Hurricane Zeta.
Ooh, that was a bad one.
So we've had some challenges the last 4 years.
But you've overcome all the obstacles thrown in front of you. So I got no doubt that you won't continue to do the same thing, my man.
Oh, I would definitely do the same thing.
Honestly, I think anybody's putting their heart out and be in this position, you got to be kind of crazy. Straight up, buddy. Sorry.
All right, so let me ask you this: do you guys, whenever you're in office, do you go into future plans? Do you set yourself up for future projects like you're gonna win? And that way you already have like kind of your blueprints for the next term already set up. Is that something that is a practice I've never done? I'm curious, so I'm asking.
Well, right now, we have some things on the table that we're working on with some of the BP Restoration Act funds, for the parking garage at 1515 Government Street.
Oh, sweet.
Some stuff for the soccer fields and things like that. But on the most part, I have a majority of the parks and stuff in town, and to me, I mean, it's more about just keeping the city moving forward and keeping the parks and things that the kids enjoy to do, like splash pads and stuff. Just keep that stuff going.
I mean, we spend Oliver's favorite park is the one right there right there about Porter. What's that park you have right there?
More Paws.
You talking about Children's Park?
Yeah, the
Little Children's Park.
we spent a lot of time at that park.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
used to go to that park whenever I was a kid.
yeah, but I mean, there's people that still go to that park daily. I mean, it's
Yeah, that park is.
we're always. I mean, when we go to a park, we go to that park. It's just something about the park, the way they develop it and take care of it, and it's fun. I mean, it's like a small little theme park for kids.
It is that.
But we're working on some projects. I mean, like I think the vision of the city is to try and get the entrance at Porter Avenue off of the foot of the bridge to be like this, wow, kind of, like come into Ocean Springs this way to get people to come down Porter Avenue, and head in that way instead of staying on Highway 90 all the way to Washington
Well, there's so
Boulevard.
much
That'd be
untapped
cool.
real estate right there too that hasn't been kind of developed yet. I feel like.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. I mean,
They
we
have
got
the Roost, Eat, Drink, Love.
the Roost is expanding right now. They're adding 4 more rooms to right next door. The Collective's getting ready to get kicked off, and they're gonna have a wine store, a bookstore,
Nice.
a yoga studio, a farm to table restaurant. And then they got Fred Moran's development that has retail. They have a vegan restaurant. They have a Mexican.
Tryhards over there too, right?
Tryhards over there. I mean, Porter Avenue is really shaping up. I mean, during my term in office, we just got finished redoing the sidewalks in the street from the Roost all the way to the to pretty much where the curve is, where you come on Porter to get to the
Okay.
towards the water. I mean, and that's what it's all about, is just keep on improving the walkability and providing people with a place to work, live, play, and being able to walk and commute. And
I remember. I know it's off topic. I remember when Scott Hobson Grauer, shout out, buddy. But I remember Scott being in St. Martin by your mom's house, and I
Yeah.
remember calling Ricky and being like, "How cool would if we had Hobson Grauers down there?" And he was the biggest support of just a local. Yeah, man, it would just be great to be down here, and look at Scott now. I mean, I know is not probably your district. I'm not sure, but
no, it's not. But he is doing really well. I pass in front of there every day.
But it was cool.
I mean,
The love is like, yeah, man. And I think that's one of the things. I do respect about what y'all do, especially with taking on different styles. At the time when Scott was asking, where does he need to be, the love was really shown at Ocean Springs for him to make a craft beer. There's still people that's still learning what they're like more domestic beer drinkers, definitely in the South.
Yeah.
But now you have these, yeah. But then he loves, he is absolutely a big fan of Scott's stouts.
Yeah, they're really good.
So it's kind of and now you got the food trucks.
And Scott, what he does is unique.
Very unique.
Very unique.
It's I think it's really cool that the service he provides for the beers that he makes, and it's always changing. It's always
that's
evolving
one of the cool
to
parts,
something
how it
different.
evolves and changes.
And we can all be honest right now. The best for me, and Corbin Gunn, you can have your thoughts because I know you have East Beach, but my favorite beach is Front Beach.
Front Beach is good.
right.
And as a kid growing up, to even bring my family, and the way Front Beach has been developed, because you got the bridge, you got the walking pass now, you got games to play, you got little showers if you need it. And it's just fun. You could spend a whole day at Front Beach.
They redid the boat launch down there a couple of years ago.
Yeah, there's not a day that goes by during the summer months that you can't ride on that beach is not always full of people.
Well, I know it is. It's been like that since I don't know. I remember driving because that was one of our first driving routes as a kid. Was like we gotta go take the car down the beach.
When it was one way Friday
When
through Sunday.
yeah.
Is it still that or no?
Cruising
It used
for
to be that way.
babes. We'd be cruising for babes. Everybody listening
No.
to
Is it
music
still
with the
10
windows
o'clock?
down.
Is it still 10
Still
o'clock?
10 o'clock.
See, that was a thing.
All right, so if somebody wants to start a new business downtown Ocean Springs, they come up with this idea in their head. They take it all the way to the planning board or the planning. How does it get approved, and when does it come across your desk? And how do you have a say in how it goes, where it goes, anything like that?
Well, if it's a property that's already zoned for what they're putting into it, it won't go to the planning commission. They'll just go to the building department, get their permit to do the build out, do the things they need to do. You know, what we see more of are like lot splits, subdivision, minor subdivision, plats, big subdivisions. You know, things like of that nature.
All right. And that's what we're dealing with that Sands project we were talking about earlier.
It is.
All that fun gravy. But what's the most rewarding part of your job? I mean, if you had to pick, I mean, is whenever your agenda gets pushed through, or is it being able to step in and actually offer assistance, or you tell me?
Well, I think the best thing that I like about what we do is that when 7 people can get together at a board meeting and come up with and all come to agree on some good projects for the city and things that we can all agree on to move forward, that's the most rewarding part of it to me.
Right on.
Instead of getting up there and always debating about, well, I don't really care for that.
You're not big into confrontation at all, are you?
No, I just I pretty much just, you know, I absorb everything I need to make good decisions, and then when it comes time to make decisions, I just put it out there and I debate my decision and
stick to your guns.
That's it.
So what's going on? Do you know anything about the oysters, the Ocean Springs oyster reefs that they have over there? Or is that all DMR talk?
That's all DMR.
Okay. I didn't know if you guys had anything to do with it at all, but apparently they got some really good oyster reefs over there.
No. I got a question, though, just off topic. I mean, yeah, you got my support on anything. Who's got the Lady Luck parts at their house? Is it still there?
On Forest Hill?
Told you.
Yeah.
Told you
for this.
We want to we want to do a story. Yeah. Do you know him?
Yeah, he lives in my ward. I think he just recently, or he plans to apply for our technical person at the Mary C. That's what he's done. Is his whole career was basically sound and things like that.
We got to get the guy on the pod.
We need to get him on the pod. What's his name again?
I can't remember.
Okay, we're gonna figure.
But
it
I
out.
can
We'll
I can
figure it
tell
out,
you
yeah.
I can tell you when I get home.
All right, we need that. We need that.
So here is so you're going what? It's 2022, right?
It is
20.
no
20,
22, 21.
2022 is your when the run's going, right?
No, 21.
21.
Yeah, April 6th, 2021.
Better vote.
I mean, honestly, guys, you better vote for this guy. I feel like, and I always say this is like, it's crazy that you're doing this just because you're such a dope dude, and it's a lot of work, and I know it's your passion.
I feel like it's crazy that you have to run because I feel like
Yeah,
you've just
it's-
always been in this faucet of responsibility since I've known you.
It's like your
But-
heart's in this. Like it's a very like you're attached to the city, and you're
Look, I have done everything I can for if somebody calls me, I've always answered my phone. If I didn't answer it, I always call them back. I'm gonna give you an example. What happened today is gonna freeze tonight. One of a constituent that's not even in my ward called me up and she says, Ricky, there's a lady that lives right behind the wall to Anderson. She lives in your ward. She's 95 and she needs to get her hose bibs covered so that they don't freeze. And I was actually headed on Washington to go to Diabloville. And I said, well, I'm not in Ocean Springs. I'll check on her when I get back. And then I kept driving a little bit. And then I said, you know what? I'm just going to turn around and I'm going to go check on her. So I turned around, went, checked on her, pulled up in the front of her yard. She was outside. She was trying to get it done. And she had newspaper and bags and stuff to get it done. And I helped her get it done. And, and that's what it's all about. It's really, it's more than just a status thing. I mean, anybody that does it because they think, wow, I'm an alderman, look.
Well, let's give you an opportunity to help possibly millions of people right now. How do you, Ricky, wrap your pipes outside and your faucets? Look into the camera and tell everybody.
Well,
you do it. Okay.
well, look,
you're a home inspector now.
When I went over there to check on her, I was going to count how many hose bibs she had, and I was going to go run to Ocean Springs Lumber and see if I can buy those little styrofoam covers to put on them for her.
Okay.
But, she's 95 and she's been covering it with newspaper and bags for all these years. So she must know the known secret of
there's no doubt about that.
what works with
so you insulated with the newspaper?
Insulated with newspaper, put plastic bag over it, and then taped it to the and so she's good to go.
I'm just curious because I got to go do mine when I get out of here.
Yeah, he's like MacGyver. I mean, he's like MacGyver.
Well, I seen somebody the other day, they posted on, I mean, it was on social media, so you don't know if it's true or not, but they had like a Whataburger cup on there with something on it. And I don't know if that works or not.
Well,
but
the thing is, if you need help with something, people need to ask. I think people would be surprised of the results they can get if they would just ask for things if they were in need.
that's so true. I get by in life a lot of times, and I take it for granted because I got a lot of friends and I got a lot of relationships.
I have like 3.
No, you got 3 more than that. But one of the positive things is, like I said, I take it for granted because whenever I ask for something gets done, there's always somebody there to help me out.
Right.
And then people are like, "Man, how do you do that?" And I'm just like, "I don't know," but I've never been hesitant to ask. And so you're exactly right on that. People who don't ask are never going to get anything done.
Look, and here's the top. This is just for me. Our buddy Brandon Davis. He's a MMA fighter, UFC fighter, and he's been on the podcast 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, he's a Line 5 guy.
Yeah, Line 5 guy. And today I was on the way to go get Oliver, and he's got his own podcast called Quick Hits, Staff Association Podcast, and he's using pretty much the same gear we have.
Right.
And he lives on 57. No, Fort Bayou, right? Yeah, he lives on Fort Bayou. So I'm like, hey, man. He's got him and his partner there. I'm like on exit 50. I'm like, you know what? I'll be there in a few minutes. I was like, I'll set y'all up. You know what I mean? And
right.
I just went and I literally drove past exit 50 where my son's at, went there. I was there for maybe 2 minutes and just made sure they were set up and just bounced.
Right.
But being genuine like that gets you so much further in life. I mean, there's so many people that are out there that are just in it for the me and for the now and for the, and they're not, their hearts aren't in the right place.
I think people though will find themselves on a path of like, sometimes like once you get that thing, like you said, like, you reach out and help people, and you kind of, just, I'll go the extra mile now. I used to not be that way. I used to be somewhat selfish. I'm not gonna lie. I was somewhat selfish at certain things, but I know that it's just like, hey, you know what? Let me go the extra mile. And I've seen that's you do that a lot. And I think that's why Ocean Springs loves you so much. And there's so many people that are always positive about what you say but you do this not just with the lady, but you, like you said, he doesn't. Like, you can call him tomorrow. You can call anytime. He'll pick up.
Yeah. And that's what you're there for. When people are calling you, it's because they're either exhausted every means of trying to get something done, or they just comfortable with calling you to get it done. And that's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling for sure.
I mean, it's
kudos.
Well, I mean, I appreciate you being on here. I mean, I think, what do you think? You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. You come back and do it again.
Yeah,
not bad.
Come back on.
Yep.
Huh?
All right. Yeah, cool.
I know. I mean, I think this is the day. Like, I feel like I learned a lot.
I did too.
I feel like you're like, but I appreciate it, man, and best of luck. And when so throw the date out there. How can they reach out to you?
Campaign ads.
Yeah,
whatever.
whatever.
Where can they like it? Where can they see it?
April 6th is the primary, and
Okay.
and it's myself and Karen Stennis, and that's gonna that day that it's gonna be whoever wins. We're not gonna have a general for my ward, and they can contact me on Facebook for Rickey Authement, Alderman Ward 2, and I have my phone number posted on there, and
Right on.
All right.
Rickey, we appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
all right, thanks.
Take care, guys.
Hey guys, come back and check us out next time.
Oh yeah, later.